We are in the 9th day of Elul, and we're going to go back to our list that we initially made in the beginning of Elul, just to recap what this list included, just that you can have it in your mind, and not only that, but constantly do it on a daily basis. Is the first part of the list. We wrote the mitzvot that I do and that I'm successful with. And on the other side, we write all the mitzvot that I don't do at all, but the mitzvot that I know of that I'm not doing. Not the mitzvot that I'm not aware of. If it's a mitzvah I'm not aware of, that's a problem to start with. But I'm talking about the mitzvot that I'm deliberately, well, I will take that back. That I wouldn't say deliberately, but that I know that I'm not doing. That I'm about to do this mitzvah, I don't feel like it, I'm lazy, whatever it is, and I know I'm not doing this mitzvah. And that's the most important thing, because I'm not talking right now, because a lot of people say, oh, this mitzvah I didn't even know that I can do. Or now because of these videos, how many emails we're getting, what are all these mitzvot? Maybe there's mitzvot that I don't know of. So forget about right now the mitzvot you don't know of. This is regardless to this series of video, open a book and read what are the mitzvot. I can't tell you all the mitzvot that there are there. There are hundreds of them. I'm talking about the mitzvot that you knowingly not doing them. That you know right now, oh, I should be doing this right now, and you're not doing. Then we go to the next column, all the sins that I know and I'm aware that I'm able to control myself. And I actually know I'm about to do the sin and I'm able to hold myself. And you deserve a lot of credit for the fact that you are aware and you're saying, I'm not doing this right now. But on the other hand, is to write the sins that I know of, and I know as I'm doing it, I know that I'm doing it, and either I'm lazy, or my Yetzer Hara is too strong, or whatever it is. But nevertheless, I am not doing these, I'm doing these averot. Then we went through the next process of what's called Tikkun HaMidot, the refinement of character, and the Midot, the characteristics that I'm able to control, but then the ones that I'm not, that I fail all the time. For example, if I say to myself, I know I have a problem with anger, and every time I get angry to myself that I got angry, or I got disappointed that I got angry, and I'm saying, okay, I gotta take control over it. But then I fail, and I fail, and I fail. Anyways, I'm not elaborating, we went through that in all the classes, I'm just repeating. The last few classes we talked about all the good decisions, or what is called a resolution that I took on myself, and I actually was good about it and I did it. Which again, you need to take credit for that. But worse than that is all the resolutions, the ahlatot that I took, and they lasted 3 days, or a week and a half. And I already, in a moment of excitement, whether it was Rosh Hashanah, whether it was Yom Kippur, or Simchat Torah, or a birthday or whatever, and you made a decision, I'm going to start doing X, and it went well for 3 days, and evaporated out the window within a week or two. And it's important because you need to, take responsibility for the own decisions that you made, but more than that, you already made a decision. Can you imagine how you disappoint Hashem? Hashem, I promise you, from tomorrow, I'm starting to do A, B, C. And then Hashem is all excited, and then it works tomorrow, the next day, and Tuesday, out. You disappointed Hashem. So I'll tell you quickly a story. I'm sure a lot of you know it, and then we'll go to the next part of the list. So there was a man that was going to have the deal of his life, millions of dollars. If this deal is going through, then he makes millions of dollars. זה משדר עכשיו, כמה דקות. If he's doing this deal, then he's making thousands of dollars. Okay, so he gets to the day where they're signing. He's already taking 3 hours prior to the meeting. He's already getting out. He knows he's going to have to drive into the city, find parking, and so forth. So he says, okay, if normally it will take me an hour to get there, I'm going 3 hours before that. He goes 3 hours before, and he finally gets to the place. It's like 2 hours before the meeting. And he goes to the place, starts looking for parking. He goes, makes a circle around the block, another circle, can't find parking, so he goes a little bit wider, a few more blocks, and he's going, and now it's already an hour and 45 to the meeting, an hour and a half to the meeting. He can't find parking. He goes a little bit further away, a few blocks away. Anyways, he's circling all the blocks. He can't find parking. Finally, it's already half an hour to the meeting, 20 minutes to the meeting, 10 minutes to the meeting. He can't find parking. He's starting to get all uptight. Comes like 5 minutes to the meeting, and he's going around and around, and he can't find parking. Finally, he stops the car. Now, bear in mind, this is a person that is not observant, doesn't keep Shabbat, doesn't eat kosher. He stops the car. He tells Hashem, God, listen to me. If I'm going to be late to this meeting, I'm losing this deal. Millions of dollars. I'm telling you, if you find me parking, I'm going to start eating kosher. I'm going to start putting tefillin on. I'm going to start keeping Shabbat. I'm going to do whatever the Torah tells me. And as he's saying that, whoop, a car in front of him leaves. So he says, it's okay, I worked it out. And he goes and parks. Not understanding is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you prayed, you suddenly said, if you give me a parking, I'll start keeping Shabbat, I'll eat kosher. And a second later, Hashem does it, and no, it's okay, and I already figured it out. So, how many times we promise Hashem things, and then we either forget or lazy or we don't do them. So this is important to know about all the resolutions and the hachlatot that I took that I never did. So that takes me to the next part of the list, is that I have to make, in case you didn't make that in your list, all the disappointments that you had or have from expectations you had, whether it's coming from Hashem or whether from other people. Sometimes a person prays and says, Hashem, I need a job. Hashem, I need to get married. Hashem, somebody's suing me. I need to get out of this headache. Whatever it is. And you pray and you pray and you pray, and you go and do all the remedies, and nothing happens. And now you are very disappointed. And how many times does this happen to you in the last year? That you had expectations, you were hoping Hashem will come through, you prayed, you made conditions, Hashem will do this, Hashem will do that, but nevertheless nothing happened. Now this is one side, is between me and Hashem. Then how many times you had expectations from other people, and that never happened. And you were expecting a person says, I'll come, I'll give, I'll try, I'll do, and nothing happened. So you want to now take this list and very thoroughly start going through all the times that you had expectations from Hashem. Now this might not apply to everybody. The entire series of these videos might not apply to everybody. Could be that from this list, it will apply 90% to this person, 80% to that person. But there are people that this part will not apply to them, because a lot of people, they don't have expectations from Hashem. Even if they pray, even if they desire, even if they want, whatever Hashem does, I'll accept. But a lot of people do have expectations from Hashem. Hashem, I woke up every morning. I went to the minyan. Hashem, I gave tzedakah every day. Hashem, I read 40 days, tikkun klali. What's going on here? Why aren't you doing hocus pocus now and making my life easy? So again, not every person on this planet this will apply to. I can tell you already that you want to get to a point that it doesn't apply to you. That you don't have any expectations from Hashem or any other people. From Hashem to start with. Don't expect anything from Hashem. Hashem doesn't owe you nothing. It's enough what He's already giving you, and you should be thankful. To have expectations from Hashem, I did A, B, and C, now you have to come through. I think it's a little bit of a chutzpah. Hashem doesn't owe you anything. He's not your friend. He doesn't have to do anything to you. He's letting you breathe every day. He's giving you food and a place to live. Say thank you, and excuse my language, shut up. Don't have any expectations from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But a lot of people do have. I understand that. I also were in desperate situations in my life. I also got married late, and I was looking for my wife, and Hashem, what's going on? And many other things, whether it's business, whether it's a situation that I was in trouble. And how many times you get pulled over by police, and you're like, Hashem, tomorrow morning I'm the first one in the minyan. Tomorrow, if you get this cup off me, I will do whatever. I'm taking on myself. So sometimes Hashem makes a miracle, and sometimes Hashem, it feels like He threw you to the pit, and you're like, whoa, Hashem, you didn't have my back. So first of all, and most important, for the ones that it doesn't apply, good, because you shouldn't have expectations from Hashem. For the ones that it does apply, start working on yourself not to have any expectations from Hashem. Hashem doesn't owe you anything. And you know what, in general, when you don't have expectations, first of all, there's not going to be disappointments. And if Hashem comes through, good. If He doesn't, also good. Hashem knows what's good for you. But we'll take now a little detour, not to have expectations from Hashem, but how about expectations that I have from people? I have expectations from my kids, from my parents, from students, from my Rebbe, from whatever it is. How many times somebody says, I'll help you. I'll be there tomorrow at 2. You didn't come. Why didn't you come? You told me you're coming. How many times you ask a person, can you lend me some money? Can you help me here? Can you take me there? Yeah. And then you get disappointed. Now what I want you to do is, after you make this list, now I know a lot of people says, I don't remember every situation that happened in the last year. So even if you don't remember the date and the situation, but take a moment to think, how many times did I get disappointed from people? I probably got disappointed a few times from people and a few times from Hashem. Now, when you came to the conclusion that you got disappointed because you had expectations, now turn the finger back at you and now start thinking, how many times did I disappoint Hashem? How many times Hashem had expectations from me and I disappointed Hashem? Now Hashem really doesn't have expectations from me, because I don't think, maybe, you know what, I can't speak for Hashem. But nevertheless, let's pretend right now Hashem does have expectation from us. And how many times did I disappoint Hashem? Now don't look at yourself. Look at how much you disappointed Hashem. Hashem, from tomorrow, I'm learning every day 1 hour. Hashem, from tomorrow, I'm not going to lie anymore. Hashem, from tomorrow, or from today, I'm stopping to say Lashon Hara. Whatever it is, how many times you go to a lecture, you go to some class, you get inspired, you get all hyped up, and you're saying in your heart, you know what? That's it. I'm stopping. I'm doing this. Now Hashem gets all excited. Now you disappointed Him. So don't look at how many times you get disappointed. Look how many times you disappointed Hashem. Now we'll go to the next step. How many times did you disappoint people? How many times people relied on you and you didn't show up? How many times you promised things and you didn't do it? How many times people looked up at you, your kids, your wife, your partner, your congregation? People in the street sometimes look at you. And how many times did you disappoint other people? So the trick to take here from the practice of today is not to center the focus on me. That's a very bad habit. This is a bad ego. To see me, I got disappointed. I had expectations. I wasn't helped, or whatever it is. Why didn't you do it to me? So now you want to realize how many times you get disappointed. Now, turn the magnifying glass on yourself and understand how many times you disappointed Hashem. I can tell you that when I do this part of the practice, and by the way, like I said it many times, this is not only for Elul. If you're smart, you do this every day of the year. Don't wait for Elul. Now Elul is an auspicious time. Now in Elul, Hashem is much more forgiving. Now in Elul, Hashem gives you a much easier way to do tshuva. I'm not saying that comes the end of Elul and throw this to the garbage. Do it every day. I can tell you only about myself. When I do this cheshbon nefesh, this account with myself, I realize how many times I disappointed Hashem. How many times I promised Hashem something and nisht, nothing. How many times, forget about disappointing myself right now. That's a whole different thing. That, if you remember, that's the last of the list. How many times I disappointed myself. I look constantly how many times I disappointed Hashem. And when I knew, not when I was completely was out of my hand. When it's out of your hand, that's a whole different thing. There are situations that you want to do something, you promise it to Hashem, and it's not in your hand. I'm not saying, a lot of people say, Hashem, if you give me a lot of money, I will give a lot of charity. That's not what I'm talking about. Talking about that you really had good intentions to do something, and it didn't work out. Okay, I'm not talking about that. And again, I can only tell you about myself that when I sit and I do this account, in Hebrew we call it cheshbon nefesh, a self-assessment, I find many times that I know, I'm not assuming, I know I disappointed Hashem. Now, do I have the chutzpah to turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, you disappointed me? How dare you say to Hashem, you disappointed me? How dare you say, Hashem, I prayed, I worked, I gave tzedakah. Some people think that Hashem is an ATM. Some people think they'll give tzedakah and whoop, their salvation will come. Some people, you don't see their face the entire year in a shul. Only when they have a lawsuit or a problem, suddenly they show up in shul, suddenly a big check comes in.
And they'll give what?
Yeah? Sometimes I see people, the big checks come in. Ooh, what happened? Oh, don't ask. But I asked. Now when you have a problem, then the big check comes in. Suddenly when a situation, when you have the sword here. So the point to take from that is not to focus on myself, rather to focus on what I do and how many times I disappointed Hashem. And I'm not expecting anybody to have a precise count. But some people can remember. And I'm sure you can remember at least 2 or 3 big things that you disappointed Hashem. And don't think for a second that Hashem doesn't get upset or angry or disappointed. And Hashem also has expectations. He has hopes. I told you already, they're putting bids on you in Shamayim. Once I gave an analogy, I'll tell you it real quick, but because one young man, I was sitting in a group of young men, and we were talking about the importance of guarding your eyes and looking at the right places, not looking at the not right places, and so forth. And then one young man asked me, me as a man, I'm not allowed to look at a woman in an inappropriate way. We read it every day, twice a day in Kriyat Shema. Don't go after your eyes. So this young man asked me, what happens if I go in the street and in front of me is a beautiful woman and she's half naked and she's in front of me? Like, what do you want me to do? So I said to look down. So move your head to the side. So anyways, so I told him, I'll tell you what, if she's right in front of you, then, and you look the first few seconds, it's not your problem. She's right in front of you. Told him, you know when is it your problem? When you go like that. That's when it's your problem. So anyways, we were talking about how many times Hashem tests a young man, even an old man, but tests a man, and he walks in the street, and as he's walking, in the corner of their eye, already he sees on the cross of the street that red dress, that red catches the eye right away. Now, he's walking and he knows there's a not modest woman there. He knows that he's about to fail. And in his mind, the wheels start working. They're a little bit squeaky. But he wants to look, but he knows, I can't look. I shouldn't look, but I want to look. Anyways, so I made an analogy how it looks in Shamayim. You're walking down the street, and this situation happens. On one side sits a bunch of angels, and they start betting on you. He's going to make it. I'm putting now $1,000. He's going to make it. On the other side sits another bunch of angels. $1,000, he fails. And they start bidding on you. He's going to make it. He's going to fail. I put 10,000. He's going to make it. And you get closer, and they get closer and closer. And drum roll, and they're all putting bets. And then the person goes and he takes his head down, and they're all in Shammai, and they're going crazy. He made it! He did it! And the ones who put the bet against him, they get upset. That's what's going on. They're putting bets on you in Shammai. Hashem is testing you, and they're now bidding if you're going to make it or not make it. So Hashem also has expectations. He's putting a test in front of you, and Hashem is saying, please, 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 overpower Yetzer Hara. Please have some strength. So to conclude, don't think for a second Hashem doesn't have expectations, and don't think for a second that Hashem doesn't get disappointed. So we want to take 2 parts into this practice. A is to notice and to realize how many times I disappoint Hashem, and then of course to do tshuva for that. To do tshuva, you say, you know what, Hashem, I'm sorry. I know I disappointed you. From now on, if I take already a resolution on myself, I'll do it. From now on, if I take on myself something, I'll do my best. If I think I can, then I'm not going to do it. You have to do tshuva to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But then, take it to the next step. How many people you disappointed? How many times did you disappoint your wife, or your husband, or your parents, or your kids? How many times you disappointed your business partners, your members of the congregation? Yeah, I'll be there at 4. Yeah, it's okay, I'll help you. So that's what you want to do tshuva. Again, like I told you yesterday, a lot of our tshuva is not if I put tefillin or not, if I covered my hair or not. That's obvious. That's no need to talk here. A huge part of my tshuva is how much did I hurt other people? How many times did I disappointed my little kid or my wife or my whatever it is? That needs to be serious tshuva for that. And once I realized that I did, you go and you apologize. You apologize to your wife, you apologize to your husband, to your kids. You're saying, I'm sorry, I know I disappointed you this year many times, especially at this time and especially at that time. And I take it back and I apologize, and I'm going to try to make amends to you. I'm going to try to make it up to you. In the future, I'm not going to promise things I can't. You want to make serious tshuva, because when Hashem sees that you feel bad for what you did and you acknowledge, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants you to acknowledge you messed up. Because most of us says, it wasn't my fault, I didn't do it. No, it was a yetzer hara. Once you admit, that's why we say in everyday slichot, Hashamnu bagadnu Hashem, I am wrong, I did wrong. That's what Hashem wants. Just admit. Just be a man, or in your case, a woman, but be a man. Admit, I made a mistake. So this is a huge part of my tshuva, is to realize how many times I disappointed. Don't look at how many times you got disappointed. That's irrelevant. I always look at myself, who's asking you if you get disappointed? I'm telling to myself, not you. I tell to myself, who do you think you are that you have expectations from anybody? You are a nothing, especially in the eyes of Hashem. So take that approach and make your homework. It's a very big step in my tshuva to understand that I'm not the center of the world. Because most people think that they are the center of the world and the world evolves around them. And everybody owes me something. And you owe me, and you owe me, and you owe me, and how you dare talk to me. Who do you think you are? Now when you think that, you get disappointed. Because people are people, and people are human. And nobody owes you anything. So I have zero expectations, so I have zero disappointments. Listen, I'm not going to lie. Of course I have a little bit of expectations from some people, but they're this big. But I always turn right away the camera on me. Wait a minute, how many times I did it? If I got disappointed, means that I disappointed somebody 10 times. If I got disappointed from Hashem, because He didn't come through with the prayer that I had, then I probably disappointed Him 1,000 times. If Hashem could just tell you face to face, what about in that time that you said you're going to do this and that? How about in that time when you're pretending? So we have to do serious tshuva to understand that I disappoint Hashem, and Hashem has expectations for me, and my people around me have expectations for me. My kids, my parents, my wife, in some other cases husband. I don't have a husband, Baruch Hashem. My kid, my friends, sometimes member of the congregation, my boss, my workers. People have expectations for me. And the best way is to, first of all, acknowledge it, but also not to give people the false feeling that I'm going to do something. Bli neder, I'll try if I can. And needless to say, the ones who are close to you, I'm very, very cautious in how I am disappointing or not very people who are very close to me. So, my kids always says, but you said so. You know my rule, I never say, I always say, I'll try. If it's possible, I'm not promising, I'll do my best. But nevertheless, the same way that we are sensitive, we are all very sensitive. Out in the open, in front of people, I'm not sensitive. Late at night, when nobody's looking, I'm extremely sensitive, and everybody's sensitive. I don't know one person that is not sensitive. You might put on an act, I don't care. You care, everybody's sensitive. Maybe a fraction are very cold-hearted and they're not sensitive. So I always look how sensitive I am. When I get offended, when I get hurt or whatever, I right away flip it over and I say that person is probably 10 times more sensitive than me and got hurt 10 times more than me. Have this approach not only today, throughout your entire life. You'll be doing much, much better, and your tshuva will be genuine, because you're not only thinking of yourself, you're thinking of other people. And needless to say that in the month of Elul, you want to show the Kadosh Baruch Hu, okay, I'm removing this ego from me. I want to show you the Kadosh Baruch Hu that I actually care about other people. I care about the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And Ezrat Hashem will be able to do serious tshuva to make sure that the Kadosh Baruch Hu sees that we actually do make a change. And let's hope that we're not going to disappoint Hashem one more time, that we can actually fulfill what we're supposed to do and make Hashem happy and proud.